shoot, look. So if you know me at all in person, in real life, or even on social media, by now you realize that I'm a big evangelist for this thing we call rope flow, right? But my problem is whenever I tell anybody about it or they see me doing it, they say all kinds of things like, oh man, that looks cool, or, you know, but I can't do that. I'm a girl, my mom, or I'm not that coordinated, Valerie, or I would knock myself smooth out, Misty. But look, after today's video, I'm gonna try to show you the most important thing, which is why exactly you should be flowing with the rope. I'm gonna convince you. You're gonna become a believer. Before we jump into why you should get yourself a rope and start flowing, I gotta be honest that this was a challenging video to make, because really there are so many, such numerous benefits to flowing with the rope that it was hard for me to distill it down to what is the most important and, you know, target those things for you to listen to. So what we're going to do is we're going to make multiple parts of this series, because we're going to start out with, I think, the biggest group of people that can be served by grabbing a rope. And that's most of you who are more of a sedentary person, right? Really, a lot of times I'm telling people about how great rope flow is for them and how they should really put it into their routine and add it to, you know, their fitness regimen. And, you know, our mindset is so rigid these days in terms of fitness and health, and it's always, well, yeah, well, what you gonna do for my six-pack, or, you know, is it gonna make me muscle bound, or, you know, that kind of thing. Am I gonna lose a ton of weight? You know, that's all well and good. Those are all great aesthetic pursuits. I don't mean to poo-poo those things, but the bottom line is, it's much more important, in my opinion, that we have a functioning unit, that we have a body that works and moves well, right? And rope flow is more designed towards that. Sure, you can lose weight, you can make it into more of a heavily cardio-intensive exercise. You can even, it's certainly going to improve your core function. But in terms of things like six-packs and big bulging biceps or what have you, you know, rope flow is not for that. It is for having a good, healthy, and happy body that you don't have to say, oh, well, aches and pains and all that. Rope flow is great for being a viable human being, and you can also always still do all the things you need to do. If you gotta have yourself a six-pack or whatever, those things don't need to stop. In fact, any other fitness activity that you're already pursuing, whether or not it's bringing you the joy and the results that you desired, is a whole nother story. But whatever those things are, you shouldn't stop them. You should just add the rope to those practices. So the first thing about rope flow that may not be readily apparent when you see me spinning this rope around like a crazy person is that it's a lot of fun, okay? It really is. It's a lot of fun, and more importantly than being fun probably is the fact that it just feels good, right? You may not realize it just to see me do it, but this energy in the rope, this centrifugal force, right? And the way your joints move to kind of keep the rope flowing with enough tension to be graceful and smooth, right? And going where you want it to go, that feels really good. It's like you have to have a certain rhythm and timing, and once you get it, it feels great. And it's like almost, I would imagine what having a perfect golf swing, hitting that ball perfectly, or maybe hitting a baseball with a baseball bat and a perfect swing would feel like. But those things require there's a lot of technical ability that goes into that, where rope flow is challenging, but not that challenging. So anyone can pretty much pick it up and learn it and feel those benefits of that movement. And of course, all the while you're getting the benefits of how it feels, your body is getting the benefits of, you know, your spine twisting and your joints moving and all these things that have to go. And the coordination, your brain is being activated. So rope flow is wonderful for those reasons. And also, just when you think you got it mastered, you put the thing in the other hand and say, what the hell? This should be easy, and why is it that my hand does not want to move the rope the same way my other hand did? So essentially, you wind up having this addictive quality to it, because you're kind of saying, I should be able to do that. It looks like it's something I should be able to do. This is very simple, right? But it is and it isn't. And so you wind up having almost like a video game with these never-ending levels that you can always unlock. You'll have things to chase with this rope for the rest of your life. And that, my friend, leads to something that you can do regularly and daily. And that's exactly what we're after, to counteract our sedentary, existences, right? Get our spine and our joints moving, get our mind activated and involved. The motor cortex and the neurons have to fire in certain specific ways, at certain specific timing to do each move. And once you learn a move, there's another move you haven't figured out yet that you got to teach your brain how to do as well. So it's beautiful for having an everlasting movement practice that anybody can enjoy. And really, it's very addictive, and it's hard to really quantify. You just got to get it up and find out. Hey y'all, one quick second, a pause for the cause. I'm hoping you like this video, and if you do, please take a minute to like this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do us a solid. Join our subscriber list. We're trying to grow the channel. We appreciate your support. We got a lot more great content coming. And now back to the regular scheduled program. They say that you are what you eat, and the veracity of that statement can be debated, but I like to say you are what you regularly do, right? And what I mean by that is, when you're a sedentary person, your body adapts. It's a highly adaptable unit, and it adapts to being sedentary. You get good at sitting around, in this position on your phone, hunched over. Your body gets really good at that, but at the same time, that adaptation also causes your body to get really bad at moving, which is unfortunate because we're designed to have movement. Our brains crave us moving and having that ability for us to, actually interact with the world in a physical way. So over time, it makes us less viable in a physical sense. And so what does that mean? Let's say even if you do work out, periodically, you got these aches and pains that, you just say, oh, I'm getting older. It's not that you're getting older. You spent too long of your life not moving, right? That's what causes the majority of, if not all, those aches and pains to crop up, where oh, my shoulder, oh, my back, or it's because you've gotten really good at sort of being in this, looking at your phone, hunching over this device, sitting at the table eating your food, sitting in the car, at the house while you eat, at work, and everywhere you go, you wind up sitting. So your body has adapted, okay? It's strengthening certain muscles that do the sort of in front of you movements that you do regularly, and it's weakening or making less viable the muscles maybe on the back. Most of us have a lot of issues with not having good back musculature, not having good core musculature. Our hips are kind of out of place, out of pocket. So these things all come from being sedentary. It's not necessarily from being old. It's just that if you've been sedentary, when you get old, you've been doing that sedentary thing for a long time. So how does that apply to the rope, right? Because unlike going to the gym a few times a week, right, where you're doing a lot of the repetitive motions and sort of the same planes of movement, the rope allows your joints to kind of be the joints that they're supposed to be. Like your shoulders are the most mobile joints on your whole body. The rope allows you to kind of get involved in overhead movements, behind the back movements, and various things that you don't normally do in the course of your day-to-day life. So for the non-believers out there, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a story about my own experience in terms of, if you have any kind of aches and pains that you think are just because you're getting older, or if you go to the gym and you work out and you've got some aches and pains that that come from, you think repetitive movements in the gym or what have you. I personally dealt with something a few years back where, I had a spirited bout of too many pull-ups in too short a time after taking a probably 4 or 5 months hiatus of not really doing much working out, not much exercising. It's atypical for me, but I call myself like a typical American, especially where, I'm gonna look for a fast rebound. So I jumped in and did all these pull-ups, and I wound up giving myself, what they call golfer's elbow, which is basically a little elbow tendonitis on the inside of my elbow here. I didn't have a really bad case. Like some people can't even turn a doorknob, right? When they have this. Mine was just mild irritation at best. So I stopped. I did the smart thing. Stopped doing those pull-ups, right? And after, a few weeks or whatever, it went away on my right side. But the left side was just not going to be convinced to go back to normal. And it didn't hurt. It was more like if I could rub that tendon and I could still feel there's an ache in there. And that wasn't good enough for me. So it was 18 months. I did all kinds of rest. I did massage. I did all kinds of physical therapy movements. And it just would not fully resolve. That tendon would just not go back to having no pain, or I should say no ache when I rubbed it and massaged it. So finally, I wound up getting into rope flow. I didn't get into it because of my elbow at all. I got into it, and within 2 or 3 weeks, that finally resolved on my left elbow. And when you think about it, you understand kind of the reason why it went down like that. Like, I'm right-handed, so all the live long day I'm doing things with my right hand that require my wrist and my elbow to move around. And so there's this sub-maximal kind of repetitive motions that are taking place that tells my body, fix that tendon, right? The tendons don't get a lot of blood flow, and especially when you're not doing anything regularly, so they're not going to heal. So this side, being my left side, was not getting, even though I was doing physical therapy, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, and I was, massage and everything else, it just wouldn't fully heal. But when I got involved with the rope, it requires me to use both my hands. So I had this repetitive sub-maximal motions that were taking place now every day that quickly healed up that tendon after 18 months of no matter what I did, it wouldn't go away. So that's just a great example of how powerful it is to have regular movement. Your body craves it and it needs it to be properly functional. I'm telling you, I promise you that. And so a lot of these aches and pains you have in your body are similar to what I just described, where there's either an issue with overuse or underuse that causes it, and then in order to heal it, you've got to kind of first let the inflammation, let it settle down, and then give it some gentle movement regularly, frequently, every day, okay? And when you do that, you'll see that you'll have a much better and more viable unit, physically speaking, okay? So the rope is great for that. I promise you, you need to get yourself a rope. Don't even finish this video, go get a rope. No, I'm just kidding. Finish the video and then get a rope. So a very important topic we touched on that I want to expand on a little bit is this notion of our brains, right? Because we think of so many things as being these different silos, right? Our brain is here and our body is there and our heart is different, but this is all one unit. Even though there's recent science that's talking about how our cells might be individually conscious, right? Which is interesting to think about and consider. The fact of the matter is our whole body is a unit. Our brains are not separate and distinct, and our brains require regular movement to be properly functioning, okay? Nutrition and other things, of course, are important, but regular movement is what the primary focus of our brain is built for, to keep our body operating and able to move in the ways it needs to move. Now, when we sit and make everything so simple on ourselves in the world, we've got elevators and cars and escalators and even the little walk thing at the airport. You don't got to walk anymore, you just stand on it. So we go so far into making it so that everything is simple. We don't have to move, and then we become basically unable to move. And our brains are suffering for it. So it's very important to kind of give your brain that stimulus, get the motor neurons fired up, okay? Let the right side of your brain have to control your left hand when it's crossed over to the right side and things like that. So the rope allows you to have all of those things that keep your brain active and engaged and properly functioning. I think most of you who are watching this right now probably want to have a well-functioning brain, I would imagine. And if that's the case, this is a great way to do that. Just doing a little bit every day, 5 minutes here, 2 minutes there, 20 minutes here. Pick it up and play with it. The rope is great for that. So that's yet another reason why you should grab yourself a rope and start flowing. All right, so we've talked a lot about rope flow, how powerful and beneficial it is for pretty much anyone, especially those of you who are fairly sedentary in your life. So you might not be surprised to know that in the description, there's a link to an online course that I've created called Rope Flow Essentials, okay? It's basically a course that will teach you the intro, the beginning parts of learning how to flow with the rope, and it's much more than just the practice, but it's also the theory about how to move in such a way that it promotes good bodily health, okay? You'll learn about where to get yourself a good rope, where to get a good price on a rope, all these things. And this course is available to you for the low price of, you thought it was gonna be a money grab, right? But this is how powerful and how important it is to me that you try this out. This course is absolutely free. You just go sign up, you're in, and you can learn about rope flow. It's not a course that is simplistic because of the fact that it's free. It's, I think, fairly comprehensive, especially to get you started. There will at some point be another course that is for more advanced rope flow practitioners. I just haven't had time to record it yet, but this course is free. I should say more specifically, it is pay what you can or pay what you want, which includes paying zero. But if you find it useful and beneficial, give us a tip, that'd be great. But check out the course, the link is in the description. And also, before you go, make sure you give us a like and a subscribe. It will help us out. We're trying to grow the channel.